let's talk a little bit about, I got to pull it up here. Earlier this week, Mr. Jameson Gunn, posted the first shot of, what is it, David Corenswet?
Yes, David Corenswet.
In his Superman costume. And what are your thoughts? Hot takes, Sal. What are your hot takes?
My normal hot take was, I mean, obviously this is the New 52 suit, but like blended with three other things. Like it's the Kingdom Come crest. It's the New 52 concept. It's the original red trunks. It's a utility belt. Like it's a, maroon, or a deep red cape. Like there's a lot of different elements that are all kind of like thrown onto this thing.
Yeah.
That make it something else.
Yeah.
But also kind of like an homage to everything else. Because the last, everybody was talking about, it either looks CW or the CW did it better. And I feel like the big thing for me is those looks from CW were all essentially adaptations. And this one is a blend of a lot of other ideas.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it. I like the blend of it. And conceptually, I like what we're doing here. I like that. Yeah. I feel like clearly we're trying to evoke the All-Star Superman, the iconic All-Star Superman cover.
Unquestionably.
And I can guarantee you that they probably tried to do that, and they're like, well, if it's not Frank Quietly drawing it kind of looks like ass.
Not only that, but we also want to see that logo in there. And if you remember, I mean, he's looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, it's basically
his cape. We need to see more suit.
And they also probably we don't want a full reveal to reveal the trunks. We want to tease the trunks, which
we want a hands on the hips shot. Yeah. Right.
So we did this where he's suiting up. Here's my issue with it. It kind of makes the costume look like ass. It's like lumpy in weird places. And I like the idea that I hope what we're going for here is it looks more like we're clearly trying to emphasize the man over the super.
Yes,
and I like that conceptually. And people will know I wasn't the biggest fan of Man of Steel. And as the whole Snyder Cut discourse has gone on, I've become even less interested.
Less of a fan.
Yeah, less of a fan of any of that. But if you remember that first Henry Cavill shot with him in the vault, and then it's like, broken clock's right twice a day. Zack Snyder knew how to do that stuff. Like that was 100%. An exciting reveal. And this doesn't have that kind of zazz.
No, it doesn't. Another thing that Gunn emphasized was that everything you see was done in camera.
I'm not the beam in the back.
Maybe the beam.
Okay,
but I assume not. I mean, it looks
the beam bad
looks
Photoshop.
Really hokey.
Yeah, it looks kind of bad.
Well, it looks bad, which makes me think, well, I mean, any kid with Photoshop could make it look great.
Yeah.
So the fact that it looks kind of bad means maybe it is in camera. I don't think it's even a shot of the movie. I think it's more just like he was on set. We have this shot. Let's just take it here, and then we'll put a little thing in the background. Like I don't know. For me, as far as like getting it in camera is concerned, the fact that he's wearing a cape at all, the fact that that it's not CG, the fact that it's like that it is kind of that it has folds.
Yeah,
like you're seeing the costume in action, or at least you're seeing the costume in a position you'll probably never see the costume. In fact, I guarantee you, because you're seeing folds and stuff, the costume designer did not anticipate you seeing a shot like that, because they were like, well, you're never going to see Superman put his boots on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but we will in this shot because we're like, we want to convey to you. He puts his boots on one boot at a time.
And totally. And I get that. I think if I were the costume designer and that was my thing, I would be like, don't do this,
put it
man.
In the most ideal circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean,
you want people to be excited. You want also, and I've had this controversial take before, and I'm just going to reiterate it. I wish we were done with the trunks. You don't see the conversation of like, let's bring Wolverine's trunks back, or let's bring Batman's trunks back. We can just, I think we can just move on.
I will say the reason why we're not having those conversations is because they are back.
But
both Wolverine and Batman are wearing trunks.
But I mean, like, nobody looked at the Batman suit from Robert Pattinson's Batman and was like, where's the trunks? Where's the trunks? You know what I mean? Or like even back all the way to Tim Burton's Batman. You know what I mean?
No one was talking about trunks in that Batman.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And so it's just we gave him, Superman has those because from the creator's childhood, it was nostalgic then in the 30s and 40s. Strong men wore trunks like that. They don't make any practical sense. I would argue I've talked to many professional people that have been like, well, to break up the blue whatever. And again, I would argue this is the only character we have that conversation with. We're not like, you know what? We need something to break up the red on Flash's costume. We don't have that conversation.
No, that's true. But, it's interesting because I definitely am one of those people who harps on the breaking up of the colors because I find that when Superman's wearing like a full-ass blue bodysuit, it looks weird. It just looks weird. And I think that it's the same with Spider-Man. Like when they, he has like kind of like a implied belt underneath the suit, but like there's an implied belt with the where it's like a band of red around it to break it up. When you change it, you fundamentally change the design. Now you get other cool ideas, but the sensational suit and whatnot. Yeah. But I do like the breaking up of the color. I do think that Flash needs not necessarily trunks, but like you need some kind of accent in there. He can't just be red. Yeah. You got to get something else in there to break it up. With Batman, same deal. I remember when they got rid of the trunks. I remember vividly, like when they were like, ladies and gentlemen, the Batman of the 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. I mean, like, it looks weird. Yeah. Like, it looks weird. It looks like it's just too much. There's too much of one color from top to bottom. And I think Superman can pull off the trunks metaphorically because I find that if anyone's going to be a throwback, since he is the prototype for everybody else, it's him. If no one gets trunks, Superman could still have them and it'd be okay.
That's fair.
But I understand. I understand the motivation behind wanting to get rid of them.
And I do think there's a way to break up the colors. Like this is going to sound weird, but what if the problem with the belt is they always go too far with it because they feel like the need to recover instead of doing what Flash has, which are just the little lightning bolts. Yeah. Just a little lightning bolts. They're like, what if Superman, okay, no trunks, but what if Superman had the chunkiest belt imaginable? It's like, what do we do?
I know, yeah. In the New 52 suit, it's this ugly red chunky belt for no reason. And I'm like, what is he keeping in there?
And then they played around with it. Like, what if it was chunkier? And it's like, stop.
No, less.
I think, and we don't need to get into my design aesthetic or whatever, but if we're up to me, I consider, let's maybe give, this is going to sound weird, but Superman pants. So that maybe like I think you could do something cool. I'm a big fan of the Fleischer S where it's a black background. Yes. So maybe you give that the black background and then he has black pants. So it's the blue in the top and then black pants to match the shield. And now you've broken up the color scheme without the trunks that I think are silly and that don't have even Batman's yellow emblem.
Yes.
Frank Miller was able to be like, well, it's to attract, gunfire to his torso where it's more heavily armored. And so you're like, okay, it's silly, but that's cool. That's at least there's an explanation. We got nothing for the trunks. He just wears them. Wears them.
Well, you know why he wears them? Because Superman wore them. That's why.
Yeah. I know, man. I know.
And I mean, like, if we're like, oh, Dick Grayson named his identity after a mythological superhero from Krypton's past, we could also assume that Batman subtly and quietly homaged his suit after Superman.
Yeah, that's you. Good point. Yeah, good point. Except don't do that anyway. Listen. I got you. I don't. This isn't my favorite costume reveal, but I really want this movie to be good. I really want it to be good. I'm excited for it. I'm rooting for it.
Yeah.
So
here's my thing.
Yeah.
There's so many effing superheroes and super characters being introduced in this movie.
Yes.
Do you think that they are going to do a Kevin Maguire Justice League International looking up at the camera poster of all the characters?
I would say no. You mean like as a promo image, not as like an official poster?
Yes,
okay.
No, it's like an IMAX poster. Or something.
Yeah, probably. I would say I wouldn't even say as a poster. I'd say as a promotional image like this, just because I feel like that's the Justice League he's building towards.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So you save that for that,
so it can get wrecked. Like, there's no way it's like, oh, you're going to put Metamorpho and.
Dude, I actually kind of like that. That's the first time that I've been kind of on board because I'm one of the people that's a little concerned that Guy Gardner's running around before Superman is, hypothetically. Like, I don't love that. But I do kind of like the idea that we can see where James Gunn was reading comics, right? Because post Crisis on Infinite Earths, Superman wasn't part of the Justice League. We got Justice League International. That's clearly the playground we're in. But I do like the idea that, like, here's your Justice League, and then they get decimated by the Authority. And it's like, well, yeah, because we need Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, like Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, Flash. Right. That's who we need.
I'm very okay with that. Yeah. And he was like, oh, it'll be Doomsday. And then it was like, well, they did Doomsday, so we have to do something else. And so we're to the Authority. That'd be fine. I mean, like, I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that.
There is a cool opportunity here with these movies to do what the Batman animated series universe, the animated universe, did so well, which was take a bunch of different characters that were created in different decades by different people. Because more than Marvel, DC's arc welded different continuities and people together and make them feel cohesive. So the Authority didn't become a part of DC universe until Jim Lee and all
so
that
the early
stuff.
2000s.
Yeah. And so and as I actually, this is one of the things I liked about the New 52 is trying to fit people like Grifter and the Authority into that continuity, but it never quite fit. Like, we've done better with Grifter now. Like, basically, he's in. If we got anybody in, we got Grifter and Midnighter in. They're in.
we have got Midnighter, no problem.
Yeah, Midnighter, which is weird because we're lousy with Batman in this universe, but Midnighter, for some reason, he's the one we snuck in.
Yeah. By the way, I'll take after Superman. If James Gunn wants to make another movie in this universe, do Midnighter and Apollo.
Yeah.
Do that immediately, because I think that that'll number one, he knows how to do that, and number two, it'll be cool.
Yeah, and so we have an opportunity here that, because we're right off the bat, as weird as it was when he's like, here's our slate, the Authority is coming out before Justice League.
So weird.
This is an opportunity to make it maybe feel cohesive, make it feel more a part of that universe. So we'll see. Cautiously optimistic.